Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com and welcome to this week's episode of PhoneDog Live here on Ustream. This is a special episode because, as you saw in the banner before I came on, this week's show is going to be the ultimate fanboy war. So it's the battle to end all battles, at least, maybe it'll be that way. And so we're going to have a couple of debates. We're going to have about 7 debates. We have volunteers already chosen, so you don't have to worry about, calling in. If you didn't know about it, you can just sit back and enjoy watching the show. Guys on Ustream, let me know if we ever have any audio or video problems. I'll try to check it if I can. Skype, Ustream is already kind of, iffy, and then adding Skype and video to it we might have some problems, but we'll just try to work through it and see if we can just, manage through all the problems. If you're watching this on YouTube, I hope you enjoy the show. I will have a timeline below the video in the description where I'll lay out, all of the different debates that we have. So if you want to skip to a particular debate, you can do that. So we'll get started. Now, before we get started, I just want to go over the rules, even though everyone that's involved should already have gone over the rules. But there's really only 2 rules that we have to keep in mind. Extensive cursing, unnecessary personal insults, or extreme yelling will not be tolerated. The debate will be high energy and passionate, of course, as it always is, but it will not be a shouting match, so just keep that in mind. Also, you must stay on topic, that being operating system versus operating system. If you break one of these 2 rules, I'll be moderating, and so I'll give you 2 warnings, and then if you if you do it again, then I'll just disconnect the call. The person who is on the call with you, your call will also get disconnected. I'm sorry, I know it's not your fault, but it's just the way it has to be. We have to keep everything organized. So we have people from all over the world and all ages. We have people who, hold on a second. Yep. Got a message on Skype. We have people from New Zealand, Costa Rica, the UK, also obviously the US, and maybe other countries, I'm not sure. We have people in their 20s, a couple volunteers, 17, 16-year-olds, and we also have some volunteers who our youngest volunteer is 12, and then we also have a 13-year-old. So I wanted to, keep it even, because I was like, I don't know if maybe they'd be too young, but we got some young bloods coming up, and so I want to give them an opportunity to, stand their ground and defend their favorite operating system. Okay, so in order to get started, our first debate is going to be Android versus iOS, and we actually have a lot of this one going on. Most of the volunteers were, they wanted to debate Android or iOS, but I also managed to get some Android versus BlackBerry or Windows Phone versus iOS. So we're going to, try to keep it even, but we are going to start with Android versus BlackBerry. And so hopefully I can get everything running smoothly without any problems, but we'll see if this is actually going to work. Our first debate will be the roughest. But anyway, let me call up our volunteers. We have Guillermo Vega from Costa Rica, and then we have Jordan, who is from, I believe he said he's from New Zealand. So let me just give him a call and put my earbuds in. That would probably be a good idea. I'm calling them right now. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hello.
How are you?
Hi, Sydney.
Is everyone's connected? Are we all here?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, now I can't see any videos for you guys. Do you have that turned on right now? Okay, there.
Just turned my video on.
Okay, Guillermo, are you there?
Yeah.
You're there, okay. If video's not working, that's fine. We can just continue with audio only. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so let me get our region set up so I can broadcast you guys on Ustream, make your big debut.
So sorry, should I turn video off?
No, that's fine. You can keep it on. That'd be better if we can keep it on.
Oh, why is mine not working?
I'm not sure, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. We're going to switch over. And there we go. There we go. Okay, you guys are on. Is everybody ready?
Sure thing.
Okay. So this is Android versus iOS. Guillermo, you will be supporting Android. Jordan, you are supporting iOS. Everybody say hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. I just want to make sure you both can hear each other. Jordan, can we start with you? Basically, make your case for iOS. Why do you think it's better than Android? Why do you think Android sucks, essentially? You're obviously a big Apple fan.
Oh, yeah, I think you can tell that a little bit by the poster in the background.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing a t-shirt saying the Mac from way back. Hey, Guillermo. The things I like about iOS, I like the integration. I love that the iPhone is all the best technology that Apple can muster. It's made by one company, that they've worked hard to make this one device with the best screens, the best CPUs, the software, it works together, and the operating system is integrated. And you can see that best from the applications, which are simply sublime. They're far superior on iOS than they are on Android. And it's been a couple of years and they haven't seemed to have caught up in any way. So you can see that in examples of an app. I'm into geocaching, which is kind of like GPS treasure hunting. You use a GPS device to find hidden treasure. And there's an app for the iPhone. It's wonderful. iOS. It works on all iOS devices. It's great. It's got features, powerful, easy to use. I have friends that have Android devices and it's terrible. It really is terrible. It lags, it crashes, an update comes out, the thing stops working apparently, and I have two friends with different model Android phones, and they have these problems with this major app. Geocaching is practiced by millions of people around the world. It's a really fun hobby, and yet on Android, it's a terrible experience. The applications are simply nowhere near as nice as on iOS.
Okay, Guillermo, what do you have to say to that?
Well, from my side, basically, I actually used to own an iPhone. I actually had the GS and the iPhone 4. And then it just seemed to me like there was something missing. And then I started watching PhoneDog and Aaron with all his videos. And it just seems to me that Android was so much more fun. I mean, you can do so much more with it. It just got to the point that the iPhone was boring. And there's only so much you can do to customize it. So that basically is what actually got me moving to the Android side. And then once I started using it, yeah, it was a little bit different, I must say. But I believe over the last year and a half, Android has actually caught up with iOS. I currently own a Galaxy S2. And I can tell you that the experience is equal, if not best, than the iPhone. The other thing that I can tell you is with my phone, I mean, I can use different launchers. I mean, every week I can make my phone look different, and I can personalize it to my taste, because for me, my phone is like very personal. So with the iPhone, it's like if somebody else has an iPhone, it kind of looks the same. The only thing that changes is the icons. But with my Android, and previously I used to have an HTC phone, it seems to me that I can do so much more with it. I can customize it. I can add different widgets, and the widgets is something that I personally use. You know, there's more applications that you have access to right there. You don't have to go into a different screen and all of that. And as far as the App Store, I think the App Stores are, I think right now they're pretty much at the same level. The quality and quantity of apps, I mean, there's really nothing that I cannot do with my Android phone right now that I can do with iOS, basically. I mean, pretty much it has caught up.
Okay, let me stop you right there. So Jordan, this is an argument that I've heard a lot, that you can't customize iOS. Is that something you're just willing to live with, or is that just not true? You don't think that's the case, that you actually can customize iOS?
I don't quite understand the argument. I had a Motorola V3 Razr which I flashed with new ROMs, and I used to put new themes and skins on that, and I used to make them myself. You could change with hex code every single button color, the text, everything. And I played around with that a while, but none of them ever looked good. And personally, I'd rather have a well-designed, well-functioning device rather than one where you can just decide to change the colors every now and then, which you can if you jailbreak the phone, and of course that's an option if you really do want to be it. It's kind of like modding a car, I think. You always see those sort of Honda Civics and they've got the sort of neon lights underneath and crazy rims and things, and if you want to do that and put crazy paint jobs on them, you know, more power to you. You can do that with jailbreaking iPhones, and yeah, I think I'd prefer a more integrated and more uniformly beautiful experience on iOS.
So to you, it's just more refined. Guillermo, I mean, do you see it that way? Do you think all the customization just kind of maybe makes it look tacky, if I'm interpreting it correctly from Jordan?
Well, I think it depends what you actually do with it. I mean, there's launchers out there like Go Launcher and I think Launcher Pro, which, I mean, the experience is pretty good, and it seems like a different operating system. They don't crash as much. I guess, I mean, every application will always crash. I mean, when I used to have the iPhone, I used to download stuff from Cydia, and it was just terrible. I don't know if it was the programming of the apps or whatever. So, I mean, you know, I think on the Android side, there is much more that you can do, and it's actually more stable, it seems to me. That's from my experience.
Okay, more stable. What do you think about
more
that,
stable?
Jordan?
Wait. Let me clarify that.
Okay.
More stable in this with the stuff that, like the third-party stuff that you can download. I mean, I found, for example, the Cydia. I don't know, some of the applications they didn't even work. So, and it slowed down my iPhone, and I don't know. I always had to go back to like the stock iPhone experience.
Okay, so in terms of like hacking, it's more stable
on
exactly. Android. Okay. Have you noticed that, Jordan, or do you see it differently?
I see it differently. Cydia is the jailbroken store, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I played around with it a couple of years ago on my original iPhone, which I imported to New Zealand. It was never sold here. And I hacked around on it a bit and played around with some of the apps. And yeah, they're not vetted for. I don't think we could include a glitchy app as something against the iOS experience, because that would be the matter of a crappy developer job.
Good point.
I'd include more the Android market versus the App Store, which are the two main official, whatever you want to call them. They are the legit route to go. And so the one that some guys just thrown out there from JavaScript and all kinds of crazy things all thrown together, I don't think that really is a point for or against the OS. And there's glitchy software apparently on both the sort of jailbroken hacked stores.
Okay, that's a fair argument. We are going to have to move on, guys. It's almost been 7 minutes. It kind of passed by a lot faster than I thought it would. But both of you guys made excellent arguments. And do you feel like we had a winner? I think it was kind of even, but I think you made some good arguments. So thank you guys for joining. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
All right, I'll talk to you, or probably won't talk to you later, but thanks for joining the show. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Okay, so those were our first two debaters. Thank you, Jordan and Guillermo. I thought they brought out some pretty good points about hacking, customizing, and I think to a certain extent it kind of just depends on how you see things. If you enjoy customizing, or if it's not a big deal, then obviously it's not really going to bother you too much. Let's move on. Let me see. I have a couple of messages from our volunteers on Skype, so I just want to make sure everybody is doing okay. Okay, and then let me head over to Ustream just to make sure that nothing was frozen, everything was working smoothly. All right, awesome. Then we will move on to our second debate. Now for this one, we have a substitution. It was going to be between two volunteers, but one of them I had kind of a hard time communicating with at the last minute, so we had one of our great moderators step in, and he's going to help us out. So, Coulton, if you're watching this, I do have a new volunteer for you, but you'll figure that out once I call you. So, let me get this ready. and they will be debating, again, Android versus
Hello?
iOS. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey.
Is everyone here? Can everyone hear me and see me? We're all connected?
Hello? Yeah.
Yes, okay, awesome. Now, Coulton, you are going to be going up against Jeremy, but he, at the last minute, would not respond to my email, so I couldn't get in touch with him. Instead, this is Henry. If you watch the stream, then you probably know him because he mods a lot. But he was willing to battle against you, again, Android versus iOS. So let's get started. Coulton, let's start with you. Make your case for iOS.
Okay. My main reason why iOS is better is the main thing about a smartphone is the apps. The apps really makes the user experience great, and it allows you to do things that you do on the phone. So with the App Store, there's obviously more apps, and on the Android market, there is less apps, and they tend to be more buggy because I'm an app developer, and for Apple, they require some, it's really, what's the word, strict, that's what you would say, that, so that your experience would be great and not laggy and buggy, but sometimes there are some because everyone's not perfect. But there are some apps in the Android market that they're really crashy, buggy, and they can even access data on your phone and crash and other sorts.
Okay, so Henry, what do you think about that? Make your case for Android, whether it be the apps aren't so sucky, or what do you think?
I would agree there, because I used to have an iPhone, and the apps on there were very slick. And moving to Android, of course, the apps there was more of a variation in quality. Some of them would be really bad. But to be honest, when you look at how many of the apps on Android market are free, 67% of them are compared to on iOS, 37% of them are. I mean, would you pay for an app that's slick and shiny and moves about nicely, or would you just get one for free that does the same job just as well, but just not flashy?
Good point. What do you think, Coulton? Is the price worth it?
I mean, whenever you buy an application, you don't pay attention like, oh my goodness, this is 99 cents. What am I gonna do? I think it really helps out the developer. Me being one that it's really exciting whenever I see, whoa, 10 people bought my app today or something like that. So I really think that people need to account for all the hours that goes into developing an app, that a little money would help them out.
Yeah, I think that's a fair argument. Okay, so Henry, moving on from apps, what else about Android do you think just makes it beat iOS hands down?
Many iOS fanboys like to make out that Android is hard to use, but for example, due to Apple being restrictive and all, you can't have anything like widgets or quick settings. So like, if you gave an iPhone, an Android phone, someone who's probably never used a smartphone before and said, go on, change a setting like the brightness or Wi-Fi, with an Android phone, you've probably got a widget or something in the notification bar to change it. But with iOS, you've got to dig through menus, and to be honest, that's not very user-friendly for anyone.
Okay, user-friendly, Jeremy. Or, no, Jeremy's the guy that copped out. Coulton, what do you think about that?
I was on T-Mobile, and the main thing that was about T-Mobile was the cost. And I was on the 200 megabyte data plan with an Android phone, and I loved the phone. It was a great experience. But what the widgets access data in the background, and every month I would go over my 200 limit. So I really couldn't do any surfing without the widgets to be getting data from the cell towers and all of that. And it's really a data hog, if you ask me.
Okay, what about in terms of being user-friendly? Do you think Android is more user-friendly or iOS?
Well, I consider myself being pretty tech-savvy. And whenever I first picked up a Android phone, I was confused what to do, how to access the settings, how to quit apps. I think when a user first picks up an iPhone, that they know what to do, and they know it's really simple, and they know how to get apps. You just go to the App Store or Messages, Contacts. It's really simple, and that's one of the main reasons why I like it. It's very simple.
Okay, so the note on data, Henry's from the UK, so the monthly plan is probably a little bit different. So Henry might not have anything to say about Android being a data hog. How do you feel about that?
For me, it's not really much of a problem, to be honest, because plans here are obviously different. I get unlimited data for only £10 a month, which is about $15. But I've seen that you pay $50 for a plan, and that only comes with a gig or two of data. So in that case, then iOS would probably be better for someone who's on a budget. But then iOS devices are usually quite expensive in the first place. So
True.
Does it outweigh it?
Okay, so then we go back to price. I think this is kind of, going back to the apps. Coulton, do you think, paying extra for the iPhone and then paying extra for the apps, does Android kind of win there? I mean, is it really necessary for Apple to charge so much?
I mean, whenever I got the 4S a couple weeks ago, and I really love it, but it really wasn't much. It was $199.99 with contract, which is a great price, and there's a lot of Android phones that are a lot more than that, and there's obviously some that are less. And there's one thing about Apple products is that they always have, their name is really great, and whenever you say iPad, iMac, iPhone, you think, wow, they're great products. And about the apps is there's an equally amount of free apps in the App Store than the Android market. There might not be, but still, there's still a lot of free apps in the App Store.
Okay. Well, both of you have made some great arguments. It's been 6 minutes already. I knew this was probably going to fly by, but I do, want to move on just so we can get to everyone. But that was good. That's one of the things that I've heard a lot of people bring up is just the price. Apple products are generally more expensive, so is it really worth it? I guess in the end, it kind of just depends on which one you prefer. And I think a lot of it is just, the economic status of just the person that's buying it. If they don't have the extra money, then maybe Android would be better. But thank you, both of you, for participating. Henry, thank you for showing up at the last minute. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you later. Bye.
Hey,
Bye.
bye.
Whoops. Okay, so that was Henry and Coulton. Jeremy, if you're watching, I'm sorry I couldn't get a hold of you and you didn't accept my contact request on Skype, so I'm sorry we had to kind of cut you out there. So far, the arguments have been good, equal on both sides, but enough of, Android versus iOS. We'll do more on that later on, but now we're going to go to iOS versus Windows Phone. And I think this is just as big of a debate as Android versus iOS because, the battle between Microsoft and Apple is, goes back much farther than the battle between Apple versus Google. So this is going to be an interesting one. We have AJ Gorin, who is on Ustream a lot during these PhoneDog live broadcasts. He's usually a moderator. And then Joey Leto, he actually is one of our editors for DroidDog, but he loves all operating systems so much that he decided to come on and defend iOS for us, going up against Windows Phone. So let me get in touch with both of them. Call them on Skype. Hey, AJ, how's it going? Is everyone here? Can you hear me? Wait for everyone to get settled. Hey, how's it going? Okay.
Good.
Joey, I can see you. AJ, are you there? Hopefully we can get this connected. Maybe not. If not, we can move on and then come back to it in a little bit if we have to. I think AJ might be having some problems.
Yeah, he was saying that he might crash or something.
Oh, it crashed. Okay.
Well, he was saying that earlier that it kept crashing on him. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, AJ, if you're watching, we'll skip this and then we'll come back to it in just a minute if we can. If not, I'm a Windows Phone fan, so I would gladly go against you. Oh, wait, AJ, are you there?
We have him?
Do we have him? I don't think so.
All right.
Okay. I'll come back to this later. Sorry for bothering you, Joey, but we'll talk
No
to you in a
worries.
minute, I guess.
All right.
All right,
See you
bye.
later.
Bye. Okay, I figured that would happen at some point. Hopefully AJ can get that worked out, and we can do that here in just a minute. But I'll call him back, see if I can get something worked out. Let me see if I can figure out what might be going on. It seems to be... Okay. All right, so we'll move on. Our next volunteers are ready. This will be... We're going to be going back to Android versus iOS. We're going to have some variety, so it won't be Android versus iOS the entire time. We are going to have some Windows Phone and some BlackBerry, but just due to the schedule, we're going to have to move on to yet another Android versus iOS battle. This is going to be between some of the young bloods. We have Josh, who is 13, and Michael, who is 12. So they're kind of young, be supportive, but I wanted to give them a chance to defend their operating systems, because, it doesn't matter how old you are. You can be passionate about technology. Of course, I think it's awesome that they're that young and passionate about technology. So let's get them on Skype. Hopefully they won't have any problems. Hopefully they'll be able to answer. If not, we'll just move on again. Starting. Okay. Hang up. It's still ringing. Hopefully they'll answer. I told everyone to just wait for my call. Josh seems to be unavailable, and then also Michael is not answering. Let me see if I can figure out what's going on. I don't want to spend too much time because, like I said, we do have a lot of debates to do, but let me see. Go to my contacts. Michael, are you ready? And Josh, are you ready? Hopefully they'll answer. We give them just a couple of seconds. Sorry about this, guys. I knew there would probably be something that would come up, but if not, we'll just have to move on. Thank you, everyone, for being patient. I'm glad all of you guys are here. I figured this would be enjoyable for everyone, even if you can't participate. It'd just be fun to watch. And we've had some pretty good arguments so far. Thank you, everyone, for keeping it civilized. Okay, it looks like Josh and Michael are not responding. So, Josh or Michael, if you're watching, we will try to get back to you in just a minute. Okay, Josh, Michael is here. Josh is not responding, so we might have to just move on. Let me send him a message. To you in a bit. Let me just make note of that. Come back to AJ, come back to Josh. Okay, so we're going to move on then. AJ, let me know if you've got everything set up yet, if Skype is cooperating for you, and we'll see if we can get back to that one. If not, then we'll move on. Skype has crashed for AJ. Okay. Any updates on that? AJ is setting up Skype on his Galaxy tab. He said he'll try and join soon. Okay, so Stewie, AJ, just keep me updated. Let me know what's going on with that. And got the names mixed up. So I told, okay. Okay, so let's move on. I don't want to waste any more time. So we're going to go back to Joey, which you heard on the phone just a minute ago on that other call that didn't work out. But he's going to join the show again, and this time he's going to be defending Android. And we're also going to have Dammy from the UK, and he will be defending BlackBerry. So this would be a nice little BlackBerry versus BlackBerry versus Android battle. So let me call them up. Hopefully they're both available. I don't want to have too many technical complications here. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, Joey? This is our second try. Hopefully your volunteer will be here again.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. See, I'm calling up Dammy right now. He's in the UK, so... Oh, okay. Dammy, are you there?
Yeah, hey.
Yes, you are. Okay. Do you have video available, or is this going to be audio only?
I think my computer's going a bit slow, so it's going to be...
Audio? That's fine. Yeah, we can do it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Dammy, you're going to be talking to Joey. He's going to be defending Android. Joey, you're going to be talking to Dammy. He's going to be defending BlackBerry. So, Dammy, how about we start with you? Make your case for BlackBerry. Why do you think it's superior to Android?
All right. Well, actually, that when a company has software and hardware, I think the experience is really integrated, and I think Android could really messy OS.
Hold on just a second, Joey. Can you hear him? Can you understand him?
No.
Okay, Dammy, your audio is kind of cutting in and out. Is the connection okay?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, that's better.
There.
Is that better?
Yes, Joey, is that better? Can you hear him?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead, Dammy. Continue.
So okay. So yeah. So like I was saying, RIM makes their own hardware. They make their own software, and I think when a company does something like that, the experience for the end user is much more tightly integrated and much more smooth. Whereas Android, they have many manufacturers, LG, Sony Ericsson, Samsung, etc. And I think, they have like one goal on their mind, and that's to make money and get these devices out. And I don't think, I don't think Android is usable to a lot of people because one, it's kind of confusing, and it's really bumpy and it's like a really unstable OS. The security isn't that good. The security isn't that good, and it's very buggy sometimes. And I think that's part of the UI the other manufacturers put on top of Android. Whereas BlackBerry, it's a smooth OS. It's simplistic. Just a row of icons, and our messaging services is something that no other company out there can beat. You're gonna, if you buy a BlackBerry device, you know what you're going in for. You're getting the whole BlackBerry email, messenger. You're getting all of that. Like BlackBerry is a consistent device all around, whereas Android isn't. I don't think.
Okay, so Joey, what do you think about that? This is an argument that we've heard more than once today about how Android is too complicated. What do you think about that? Is BlackBerry better in that sense?
Blackberries can be just as complicating as an Android phone can be. I have a Bold 9900 and I've had multiple Android devices. The thing is most people today, only businessmen really need a BlackBerry or someone who requires a keyboard. They just simply cannot type on a touchscreen keyboard. That's about the only reason anyone should get a BlackBerry. Previously, battery life would be a big driving factor, not anymore. Most Android devices can beat modern BlackBerries now, from my experience. And BlackBerries, they're boring. I mean, people say iOS is boring. People say Windows Phone is boring. BlackBerry is about as boring as it gets. There's nothing to do on there. There's no apps to use. there's no customization. It's got nothing going for it except for a hardware keyboard. I mean, this right here. Can you see this? This is the only reason to own a BlackBerry. Is this keyboard?
Okay, so those are some strong words, Dammy. What do you think about that? Are you a business user? Do you think it's meant for more than just that?
No, I'm not a businessman. I still go to school, and the majority of people in my school have BlackBerries, and they have BlackBerries for one thing mainly, and that's the BBM, messaging service. We can all keep in contact. It's free, unlimited messages, instant messages anywhere. But when he said something like there's no apps for BlackBerry, did he say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. With BlackBerry, and with a lot of OSs, yeah. When you download apps, BlackBerry has the essential apps that you need. It has your Twitter client, it has your Facebook, it has a Dropbox client, which I use all the time. It has e-reading clients. It has the essential apps that you will need. All other apps that you download are just excess apps. Like when I had my iPod Touch, I downloaded all the essentials, and all the other apps I rarely use them. I only use them sometimes to show off to friends and everything. So in that regard, BlackBerry has everything you need, and all the other things he's talking about. All the other apps. The 400,000 apps Android market might have. They're not really important. They're fine for showing off, but when it comes down to it, the core usability of BlackBerry is much more stable than Android. It's a much more stable OS, and it has the Essentials app that you can use.
You want to debate the Twitter for BlackBerry app as being stable. It is the exact opposite. The exact opposite. I don't recall the last time Twitter for Android has crashed for me, but my BlackBerry app, it crashes constantly. It doesn't even refresh half the time, and it's unusable. And do you want to BBM? Everyone's saying, oh, we should all use these online instant messaging services. We've had texting. Why do you need BBM? You can text people.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. But texting, texting comes down on your bill. Like for example, me, I have my BlackBerry, and I pay T-Mobile £25 a month for 24 months, and they give me 300 texts. And once I use those texts, if I go over those texts without knowing, that's extra money on me. But with BBM, because I know I have free unlimited BBM, I can just send anyone messages for as long as I want, and that's no extra cost on me. And it's like, because everyone's using it, so you can contact all your friends, anyone. So it's much more beneficial than using text.
That's a good point. Now, going back to the apps, Joey, do you think it's really necessary to have 400,000, 500,000 apps?
No, I use probably 10 apps. I'll play the occasional game, but BlackBerry apps, they don't work. Android apps are actually more stable. I can't believe I'm saying this. Android apps are more stable than a closed OS like BlackBerry.
Okay, Dammy, have you had any problems with that? Unstable apps?
I've had a Galaxy S Wi-Fi 4.0, as I've told you before, and that used to crash all the time. That always, every time I would use TweetDeck, sometimes it would just say force close, memories, something. And they just give you all these fancy names for errors, and apps always used to crash on my Android device. And it's not like I was even doing a lot of raw multitasking. They just used to crash. I don't know if that's particular to my device, but that is my experience with Android. Android is such, and it was running 2.2 Froyo, by the way, even after many months after Gingerbread was out. So Android is just really messy to me. I've never had a stable experience with Android. Apps always crash with Android.
Well, that was a really good debate. It's already been 7 minutes. I know we've only just scratched the surface here, but Dammy, I think you made some good arguments about only having the apps that you need, and then of course having hardware integrated with software. But then of course Joey, those are good points too. I think in a lot of ways some Android apps are more stable than BlackBerry apps. But good debate. Thanks guys. Thanks for volunteering. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yep.
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
Okay, good. Joey, I'm
All
going
right,
to be talking
thanks.
to you in just a minute, but we'll move on. Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
So that was good. BlackBerry versus Android. I did not see that one being as eventful as it was, but I'm glad it was. I think I'm getting confirmation that AJ is ready, and we may have to cancel one of our debates. 5v5. Let me send a message. Hold on to our volunteer. Okay, sorry about that. So, yeah, AJ is ready now. So let's go back to, we're going to get Joey back on the phone. You guys just heard from him. And then we're also going to get AJ on the phone, and they will be debating Windows Phone versus iOS. And this is one that I was really excited about. So let's see if Skype is working now for AJ. And of course, you just saw Joey, so he's going to be right back on. This is his third time.
Long time no see.
I know, it's been forever. Okay, hopefully it's working now for AJ.
Okay, gotta mute the new stream.
You're being popular now. You're just like all over the place. Now everyone's gonna know who you are. Okay, let's see. It's not connecting for AJ. Just gotta be patient. I figured this would happen though, because just computers are okay. AJ
Well, I'll go against you if you can't get in.
Okay, AJ says he has a different screen name that I need to add. AJ, what's your screen name? Oh, I guess if you don't mind having it on Ustream.
I don't think anyone really cares on Ustream.
Okay, let's see if we can get it then. Okay, so I have his new screen name. Let me go over to Skype and add him as a contact. Of course, he's going to have to confirm the contact before I can actually call him. AJ, try to confirm that contact as soon as you can. Okay, it has been confirmed. Now let me figure out how to do a video call. Oh, did I just hang up on you? I think I just hung up on both of them. Okay, that was smart. Awesome. Okay, sorry guys, I just hung up on both of you. I knew this was going to happen, but it's okay. We'll just work through it. And AJ, what's your new name? Oh no, you're on hold. Oh my gosh, I am so confused. Hey, are you on
Everyone
hold?
in?
You're on hold. Okay, sorry, I thought I hung up on you. I'm trying to figure out how to get AJ on with his new screen name. Would you have any tips on that?
What?
How to add a call to this one without putting you on hold?
I think you go to the contact.
Okay.
You right click and then you click video call.
Call. I think whenever I called him, that's when it put you on hold, but I'll try it again. Okay, yeah, it just put him on hold. Okay, so let me hang up again. Okay, yeah, that just put
Get
you
out
on
of that
hold.
hold.
Yeah, okay. Let me just hang up, and then I'll try to work it out, okay?
Okay, sounds.
Okay, thanks for your patience. Bye.
No worries.
Okay, AJ, let me see if I can get this worked out for you. And this should work. I'm going to do it differently than I was doing it. Starting add. All right. Hopefully this works. This is our last try. If not, I will stand in AJ's place.
Is it working?
AJ, are you there?
I can hear you. I can't see you.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, I can hear him.
Okay, good.
Oh wait, no wait. There's a video button. Oh no, that might be mute. I'm not sure.
It's all right.
I'm
As
not
long
used
as
to
we have
using
audio.
Skype, so I can see you and Joey on Ustream that I have muted, but I can't see you on my tab. It doesn't matter.
Okay, but you can both hear each other, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Awesome. Okay, so Joey...
It's kind of weird because it's on a little bit of a delay, but that's fine.
Okay, as long as it doesn't cause too much of a problem. Joey, you're going to be defending iOS. AJ, you will be defending Windows Phone 7.
Yes.
AJ, how about we start with you? Is that okay? Do you want to make your case for Windows Phone?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right. I was going to. Thought I would think of something a little smaller to start with. So I was going to say that Windows Phone kind of has a lot of smart subtleties that they've put into the OS to make it really work more easily. Like one of the ones, an example I could think of would be how in your apps list, if you have a certain amount of apps, you have letter tiles that show up that help you jump to a certain letter in your alphabetical apps list, which helps because if you've got a whole bunch, you need to jump, but they're not there when you don't have them, so it doesn't make it a huge list to scroll through.
Okay, so the little kind of subtle additions, which I've noticed in Windows Phone, that just makes it a little more user-friendly. What do you think, Joey? Make your case for iOS.
I'm straight up going to say there's no way for apps to be found as easily as on Windows Phone, but the quality of the apps is a completely different thing. On Windows Phone, there just aren't as many. The quality may be similar, but there aren't as many. There isn't as much variety. I think there's like 40,000 now, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think.
All right. And, iOS is like hundreds of thousands, and if I need to get something done, I can do it on an iPhone versus a Windows Phone just because there isn't that variety. And Windows Phone, it's locked down versus... It doesn't really have as much going for it, and I'm going to go out and say that it basically copied iOS. It tried to create that open ecosystem, or that closed ecosystem that iOS did with all the Microsoft services, and it's still new, and it's just not pulling it off at this point.
Okay, AJ, what do you think about that? Do you think Windows Phone copied iOS?
I don't think that Windows Phone copied iOS at all. It's a whole different story. But what he was saying with the apps, how the quality might be a little better, and then there's more. Mm-hmm. What I would say for Windows Phone, they might not always be as good, but most of them are built on the Metro UI that Windows Phone has that makes they look better, and it's more consistent with the OS. So so once you've gotten the hang of your phone OS in general, you can pretty much download almost any app from the marketplace, and you know how to use it already.
Okay, so simplicity, the quality is still better. Joey, what have you used Windows Phone? Obviously,
I've owned one device.
Okay, so what do you think about AJ's arguments? Do you agree with that?
Not really, because iOS has had that, and there's no back button on iOS. It's always integrated, so it's right there. It tells you how to go back, versus on Windows Phone, you got to click the back button. So that whole simplicity thing, it's right there in the open on an iPhone versus on Windows Phone. You have to know how to use the button. And I'm actually in favor of on-screen buttons more versus physical buttons because, I've noticed this on multiple phones. It can get confusing on which button you need to press to close it, to force close it, to go back, things like that.
Okay, so I don't know if I've ever heard that argument against Windows Phone that it's too complicated, but...
It's not, but
okay.
He's saying that it's simpler than iOS. It isn't.
Okay. AJ, do you have a couple more examples of how it might be simpler than iOS?
Well, I'm sure I could think of one, but
maybe just not on the spot.
Going back to what he was saying on the how the physical buttons versus capacitive, on-screen button versus capacitive, but anyway, I was gonna say that iOS, at least on a phone, on the iPhone, you're limited to a 3.5-inch screen already on your iPhone, and putting the buttons on screen, which might add, even if it adds the tiniest bit of more help to help you figure out what the buttons do, which isn't that complicated in the first place. It does take up screen real estate on an already small screen. So unless you are favorable to smaller screens, smaller workspaces, I wouldn't say that's a better option.
Okay, so last point by Joey. What do you think about that? Small screen size is a big deal, or is it?
Well, I type faster on my iPhone, faster than on any other phone, except for my BlackBerry. It has the most fluid keyboard, in my opinion, and I have no problem with the screen size. And that resolution, I mean, you could have a Focus S, which has still the 480 by 800 on that big screen, or you could have this 960 by 640 on the small screen. It looks beautiful. I can't distinguish the pixels at all, and on Windows Phone, it's still got that huge resolution problem. You got the HTC Titan, which is a 4.7-inch screen with this weak resolution.
True. Okay, those are good points. Thank you both for joining. I'm sorry we have to move on again. But I thought both of you kind of made good points. I think both iOS and Windows Phone, they're both really simple. But I guess, if you want a larger screen, maybe iOS is the best way to go, but then maybe it is simpler than Windows Phone. But thank you guys both for joining. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yep.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Welcome. I'll see you guys
Sorry
later.
about
Bye.
the problem.
Oh yeah, don't worry about it. Bye.
Yeah. Skype was...
Okay, good debate. iOS versus Windows Phone. That was an interesting one, that Windows Phone is more complicated or that iOS is more complicated. I haven't heard that one, but it was interesting. Okay, so we are going to go overtime a little bit. I don't know if you guys have noticed that already. It's 4:55, which we usually try to end at 5. If you guys don't watch the show, we usually try to end at 5 Central Time, which is 6 Eastern Time. But we do have 2 more debates left, and I want to get to them because they're iOS versus BlackBerry, which is a big one, and then iOS versus Android. But these two guys are pretty passionate about it, so I want to make sure that we get to them. So let's just move on without any further ado, and we'll go to Nick and... There we go. Let me call both of them up. Hopefully they answer and we don't have any problems with this call. They're both... Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Okay, so this is... Now, am I pronouncing your name correctly? Is it Sachin?
No, it's Sachin.
Sachin. Okay, sorry about that. Nick, are you there? Yes, you're there. Okay,
I
good.
can't hear him.
Okay, let's test it again. Nick, can you just say something to see if he can hear you?
Hello?
Okay, can you hear that? Can everybody hear each other? Sachin, did you hear that? Are you there?
Everything's coming loud and clear on my end. I don't know about Sachin.
Okay, Nick, I can hear you. Sachin, are you there? I think we might have... Okay, Sachin, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Sachin, Nick just says something. Nick, say something else so we can see if Sachin can hear you.
Hello?
Okay, Sachin.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear him now.
Okay, good. Let's get started then. So do either one of you have video, or is this going to be audio only?
Well, I'm doing video.
Oh, okay, it's just not showing up.
Is it not showing? Oh, okay, one second.
If not, it's okay. We could just do it audio only.
Start. Can you guys at least see the screen so I can do photo booth?
I'm sorry, what? Oh, yes.
Okay. Okay, it works. And I muted you on the other end.
Okay. Okay, so there you are. Nick, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, let's get started. We're kind of running short on time. So, Sachin, again, that's right?
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to be defending BlackBerry. Nick, you will be defending iOS. Sachin, let's start with you. Make your case for BlackBerry, why it's so much better than iOS.
Well, to start off, the battery life. To me, battery life is a big thing. To be able to at least get through a full day. And sometimes I find like it's only 6 o'clock right now, and my phone has been in my book bag all day, and it's already at 40%. And having to worry about charging it throughout the day is something new to me. And so that was probably the biggest thing. Also, the keyboard. I really like the keyboard. I text a lot, and I remember switching over from my BlackBerry to my iPhone. It took such an effort to type text messages. Like sometimes I type them on my computer, send it to my phone, and then send it. The notification LED was also a big thing for me because I could just sit it on the desk, and then I'll see the light blink, and I could go check it. Now I have to unlock my phone to check to see whatever's there. And actually, sorry.
Okay, so Nick. Battery life, keyboard, I think that's an argument I hear a lot, that it's so much better on BlackBerry. What do you have to say about that?
Battery life. I have an iPhone and I use it all day because I'm a student. Right now I have 33% battery life and I can make it through a whole day of I'm a power user and I make it through a whole day easy.
Okay. What about the keyboard?
And I can barely hear.
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
I can't barely hear him.
Oh.
It's like cutting in and out constantly.
Oh, okay. Nick, do you have a good connection?
I have one Wi-Fi bar.
Okay, he has one bar. Sachin, did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay, let's try a couple, like a minute or two, and see if it gets better.
I can hear him right now, so we can continue talking. But
okay.
If it starts cutting in and out, I'll tell you.
Okay. Nick, you were talking about the keyboard.
Now, I will say one thing. I do like BlackBerry keyboards. Now, iOS does have a couple options with keyboards, like the Boxwave Keyboard Buddy case, and I've heard they're pretty good, but I haven't tested them out.
Okay. Do you think the virtual keyboard is good enough to go against a BlackBerry?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay. Sachin, what do you think about that?
Well, another thing is that I guess the iPhone, my iPhone doesn't push email very fast. I probably get them. Actually, I never really get them, and I have push on. If doesn't go through, I have it on fetch. Where my BlackBerry, I never had an issue of never getting an email through, especially when I sent like a big thing, like a project or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's 6 o'clock.
I just heard your computer say it's 6 o'clock. Okay, so Nick, that's true. BlackBerries are known for having one of the best email clients. What do you think about with iOS? Is it able to compete?
As long as you don't have like Comcast or Gmail, it works fine. I mean, I get Apple push. Gmail, I just use the Gmail app for push. So, I'm set.
You never have any problems with it?
No.
Okay. Anything else, Sachin?
Well, they don't. BlackBerries have a data zip feature. So as far as tier data, like on my Curve, I use it a ton. I use turn by turn. I used email. I used Facebook. Everything, and I could never go over 200 megabytes in a month. With my Bold 9930, I would probably do about 400 megabytes, and that's heavy usage on 3G. And with my iPhone, I can easily go over 200 megabytes in about 2 days.
So it's a data hog. Now, Nick, I don't know if you pay attention to data or if you pay the bill, but is that something that you've noticed?
Not really. I have a 2 gigabyte plan, and I have not gotten one overage since I got it.
Okay, and you say you're a power user, right?
Yes. I use my iPhone constantly, all day.
Sachin, you seemed kind of surprised by that.
Yeah. Okay, well, I have a list right here. I guess another thing is that it's not really actually very, because it's kind of new, but it's not a known feature as of now. But the newer BlackBerries, the OS 7 ones, you just go into the app world and you can download the BlackBerry free turn-by-turn app.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually made for BlackBerry. And that is really helpful.
Okay, free turn-by-turn navigation. Nick, does iOS have anything like that?
I don't know for sure, but by turn navigation. It doesn't tell you, but you can do it with that Maps application.
Okay, but it doesn't like read it out loud or anything.
No.
True.
Okay.
So that's a good point. BlackBerry definitely has that. Now, what about apps? That's been mentioned a lot, the lack of apps on BlackBerry. What do you think about that, Sachin?
Well, for me, I'm not on my phone playing with the most absurd apps. I don't need things that check my RAM and all that. I just use very basic apps like Facebook and maybe a game or two. And BlackBerry, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to say that it never didn't have an app for me, but the apps were pretty much okay with me. I mean, I only had an app for my LED, I only had an app for Skype, Facebook, and all the normal things that most people do.
Okay, and see, the difference with you is that you've actually used an iPhone, so you've had
Yeah, I'm
available
kind of
to
bashing
you
my
a
own
number of
phone right
apps.
now.
So Nick, do you know how many apps you have or how many you've downloaded?
I've downloaded approximately a little bit over 100, but I can't keep all that on my phone because I have the 8 gigabyte.
Okay. So,
There's another thing, memory expansion. We can expand the memory with BlackBerries to like however much we want. I remember I'd have so much music, and I just plug it into Desktop Manager and sync it to my SD card.
Okay, that's definitely a good point. Because obviously with an iPhone you have to buy a different model. Okay, so we're at 6 minutes. Nick, do you have any last words to say to defend iOS?
iOS does have a little bit over 500,000 applications.
That's true. Yeah, so definitely a bigger app selection. Of course, like...
Anything else?
Sorry, what?
Is there anything else you want to say, or no?
I guess that was it. But that's okay.
The form factor, too. I mean, iPhones...
The new OS 7 device form factors are great. They have the keyboard and the touchscreen both on one device, and it doesn't get in the way with each other.
Okay, good point. We do have to stop right there, guys, because it's been about 6.5 minutes, and we're already running over. I want to get to the last one. But those were some good arguments, and kind of the same thing that we've heard. iOS, just tons more apps than what you have on BlackBerry. But then again, BlackBerry generally has everything you need. So thank you guys for participating. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry I had to cut it short. But thanks, guys, for being on the show.
Okay, can I have one more thing?
Yes, you can say
just
one more
like
thing.
A finisher, kind of?
Yes.
BlackBerry is like for the person who wants what they would need and doesn't really want wants. And I guess iOS would be for the person who enjoys games and just overall media consumption, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the two, like, to me, even though I have one, I look at the iPhone more as a toy-like phone, as where the BlackBerry is like the real smartphone. It was one of the first smartphones that ever came, and they're used more overseas. People always say they're losing market share in the US. When you go overseas to places like the UK or Middle Eastern countries like Lebanon, it is very, very popular.
Okay, so I think both of it, or all three of us, can agree on that one. But thanks, guys, for being on the show. We're going to have to move on now. Bye.
Okay,
bye. All right, that was a good one. Again, kind of the same arguments, BlackBerry, the lack of apps, but I guess if you don't really need a lot of apps. I got a message during that call that the stream was kind of starting to stutter a little bit. I hope that's not too much of a problem. And we'll move on to our last debate, and this is going to be going back to Android versus iOS. The stream is fine now. Okay, good. And this is going to be Jomar Streeter versus Shane Wallach. And it's a good old Android versus iOS battle. So let's get both of them on Skype and see if we can get in our last debate here. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's going good.
Okay. Jomar, you're there. Shane, are you there also?
I'm here.
Okay, awesome. This is great. No problems at all. And let me get you guys on Ustream. Okay, so you're going to be battling Android versus iOS. How about, Shane, we start with you. Make your case for iOS, why it's better than Android. And keep in mind you're the last one, so you have to represent for all the fanboys.
All right. Well, the main thing about iOS that I really like, and this is I've seen this across the board, is just its simplicity. I can give an iPhone to my grandma, for instance, who knows nothing about like technology or really anything of the sort, but she can understand oh, this is how you do this. The phone, the user interface is really simple, easy to use. All your apps are right up front, and of course, Android offers customization, a lot of it. But I found personally with me and a lot of people, they don't really need that sort of customization, and it actually just overcomplicates something that doesn't need to be so complicated. It's just the simplicity of iOS. It's very usable and very just pretty, almost, basically. It's just flashy. It's good and it works, and that's what I love. When you turn on your iPhone, you know it's going to work. I haven't had crashing problems. I've had crashing problems on Android. I have an Android tablet which runs Honeycomb, and it crashes all the time, and it's annoying. And then I have an iPad which doesn't crash at all. That uses iOS and Android. Same with that iPhone. I have an iPhone 4. Great, never crashes, very fast, because all the apps are optimized for that one device. And I think that people don't emphasize hardware enough. With the iPhone, it's sort of a one-size-fits all, and people argue against that, but I just think that's great that it is able to accommodate so many users under just one device, and it's very usable. You can use it for anything you'd want. Business users can use it, and as you may have noticed recently, they've been choosing iPhone over BlackBerry because it's just so much more usable than BlackBerry. And same with Android versus iPhone. I just think it's much more usable and much easier to use, and very good for beginners as well.
Okay, Jomar, your turn.
Yes. Now, you did say that it looked better than Android, but let's be real. Apple's iOS is very stale. It came out in 2007, 5 years later, and the icons look exactly the same. The fact that you said that your grandma can still use it might tell me, hey, it's not that much fun anymore. One thing that I have seen with Android is that with every OS update, it gets better and better and better in not only features, but as well as in looks. As when, my roommate, who I'm in college, has an iPhone 4S and from an iPhone 4, and you can tell absolutely no difference whatsoever. So on that standpoint, the fact that it is so stale tells me that it's not a good option to go with.
Okay. Shane, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I hear the stale argument all the time, like, oh, iOS is stale, it's old news. It's like that, and I just think I disagree, because Steve Jobs said in 2007, he was introducing the original iPhone, this is 5 years ahead of any smartphone we have right here. And I think that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think that's very true. And it's not broken. If anyone, I think you can even admit that iPhone OS isn't broken. You may think it's stale because you can go over to Android and you have all these customization options, which is great for someone who prefers to really super complicate, go into the details. But I'd say the majority of users just don't really care about that. They don't care about all this customization. They just rather have a phone that they turn on, it works, it's all done for them in a very good way that just is all designed to be very usable. And sure, you could claim that it hasn't evolved very much, but I would say that's not a bad thing, because it works. It's worked since day one, and it still works, and I love it.
Okay, Jomar, what do you have to say about that?
I feel as if, though, with Android, like you said, with the skins, everybody has a personality. And so with Android, it allows one to express that in a certain way. You don't have to go and jailbreak your phone and void the warranty in order to have what you want on it. You can just load up the Android market, which I'm not sure if you haven't seen, upgraded itself, which is stunning, visually stunning, and become yourself instead of have a bubbly personality with a phone that looks just like everyone else's phone.
Okay, that's a good point. Different personalities, people want their phone to look different. I mean, do you think that's a valid argument, Shane?
I think it is, but I think it's still a very small amount of users really care about the customization. With iOS, the customization options they offer will work for a majority of users. I can switch around where the apps are on the home screens. I can customize my wallpaper, just do all this basic stuff. It still lets me add personality, but doesn't overcomplicate things, so where I almost have to go in and change the OS experience just to fit me. iOS fits me out of the box, so I can take it and it's there and it works, and I actually haven't changed the order of the apps because they just work. You know, I just so used to that, and the experience just sort of I don't have to change the device to work with me. It just works with me.
Okay, last few minutes, Jomar, do you think Android overcomplicates it?
I don't. That's a good one. I'm actually at college on college campus, and our school had a choice, to either go with Apple as the school's, major thing, or Android, and they went with Android. And what I've seen, having Android myself, is that how better integrated it is with Google Docs and our school's email. It is just so well put together that it defeats Apple's, what they say is more put together than I would say than Android is. When you really sit down and look at it, Google has surpassed what Apple keeps saying they're doing as an innovation. It seems to me as if they're just sitting there saying, hey, our products are more innovative, whereas Google is showing that it's more innovative.
Interesting. Okay, we have time for maybe just some closing comments. Shane, do you have one more thing to say?
Yeah, that brought up an important point to me. Integration, like when I have an Android tablet and I have an iPhone. With my Android tablet, I have to hook up, plug it into my Mac, and I have to drag in all the content, and it's really difficult, and I don't like doing that. But with my iPhone and iPad, I can use iCloud, which is great service, great for syncing all of your content to all your devices, and I can sync it. I can have all my music just download it from the cloud right onto my device. Just this ecosystem. Apple has a great ecosystem. And even if you have a PC, they still offer the integration with iTunes. So it really fits all users, and it allows just this very ease of use. When with Android, I don't know if they offer that kind of syncing because it's just not very apparent to me. But what I've been doing with my tablet is I've just been plugging it in and like doing it manually, basically, and it's just very difficult for me. So that's something I really like about iOS as well. It's just the ecosystem and the way that it syncs all of your devices together very simply and easily and just hassle-free almost. That's what.
Okay. Good argument. One final comment by Jomar. Do you have one more thing to say?
Yes. With the ecosystem being so close, and that's I know how Android is in.
Hold on.
Sorry, we think we have an ad playing. Okay, we're good now. Sorry about that, Jomar. Continue.
It's fine. With the ecosystem on iOS being so closed and Android being so open, like I discussed earlier about the skins and stuff, once you really look at it and it makes sense, well, to me it makes sense. I'm in America, and America has been based on, openness and freedom to do whatever. So wouldn't you want your phone to kind of reflect the same thing?
That's a good point. I know, Shane, you're dying to battle that, but I have to stop. We have to move on. We just don't have time. Right. But thank you guys for being on the show. You both brought up excellent comments. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So that was a good one, and I could see every time through all of these debates, every time the other person brought up something that the other one was just dying to battle against, they always got this expression that was just awesome to see. But anyway, great debate, guys. I am so sorry we went over time, but that was a good show. Maybe too many. Maybe if we do this again, I'll have to have fewer debates. That way they can last longer, because I know we just barely scratched the surface with all of them. But thank you guys for showing up. I hope the technical difficulties weren't too much of a problem. There was one debate, and then some people had to kind of cut out because of problems. I'm sorry, guys. I was looking forward to having you guys on the show. But again, if we do it again, then I'll keep you guys on my list. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed it. And PhoneDog Live takes place on Ustream Live every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Usually the show is not like this. Usually we just discuss the biggest news in mobile technology, and then I try to save the last 15 minutes of the show for an open Q&A where you can ask me anything. Obviously, we didn't get a chance to get to that today, but we're going to do that next Friday and the Friday after that. So if you enjoyed this show, stop by again next Friday, and I'll see you then. You can follow me on Twitter if you want. My screen name is PhoneDog_Sydney. But just keep it on PhoneDog.com for more news, updates, and reviews, and I will see you guys later. Bye.